Hello, Oracles. Well, last night, Tesla's semi-truck delivery event delivered more than just trucks. We didn't get a whole lot of new information, but there were a few little nuggets that we had gotten in there that gave us a little insight as to what we could be seeing in the future for the Cybertruck and other vehicles. I think the moves that we see in the market today are going to reflect the macro more than it's going to reflect the Tesla semi event. Historically, Tesla always sells off after an event, even if it does not run up into the event. So again, we'll see how we roll today. Not a huge concern for me because everything we're about to go through right now when it comes to the semi has major implications for long-term growth, and I'm very positive about the future with this. So just some basic stats on the semi truck itself. It goes 0 to 60 in 20 seconds. That is insanely fast for a semi. As Elon said, when you're seeing the semi driving around without a container behind it, it looks like it is an elephant running around at the speed of a cheetah. And he said it's ridiculous to look at. It looks silly. But knowing the fact that they have a tri-motor in this, which is the same tri-motor powertrain that they use in the S and the X, and is a 1000 volt powertrain, which other vehicles will have in the future, but this is the first one that will have it now. I have a feeling we will probably end up seeing the Cybertruck and maybe the Cyber van with this in the future as well. You guys can let me know in the comments below what other vehicles you guys think will have this 1000 volt powertrain. And one of the things that they had discussed was the fact that getting into the semi when it comes to actually bringing money down to the bottom line is, how many vehicles are actually sold? Globally, it's about 400 to 500,000 semis annually. So when you break that down, it's really about 1% of the global automotive fleet, seeing as the entire world puts out about 100 million vehicles per year. So why is it a focus for Tesla to go into the semi? I will let Elon explain right now.
So in the U.S. there's call it like 15 million passenger vehicles and a couple 100,000 semi trucks. So it seems like a small percentage, but it's actually 20% of U.S. vehicle emissions because you've got a huge vehicle and it's being driven all the time. So when you factor in the number of hours driven and the weight that it's carrying, it's actually, although it's only 1% of vehicle production, it's 20% of vehicle emissions. And it's over a third of all the particulate emissions. So from a sort of health standpoint, particularly in like cities, this is a huge impact, like it's gigantic. So that's why we're doing it. So being able to make them electric is just going to be just in addition to sort of climate change and global warming matters. It's also quiet, and it's going to improve the quality of your air, and it will actually just fundamentally improve the health of people living near freeways, which is obviously a super big deal.
So if anybody's been woken up at a noisy truck delivering in the morning, the quiet will definitely be very welcome. I know I will appreciate that.
So we're aiming to cover all major forms of transport. It's just consistent with the Tesla mission, because sometimes I get asked like, well, shouldn't Tesla just produce like, fast cars or premium cars or whatever? It's like, but what's our actual mission? Our actual mission is to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. So that's why we're making this wide range of cars that don't really make sense from a brand standpoint, I guess, traditionally, but they make total sense when you consider what's the mission of the company. The mission of the company is to accelerate sustainable energy. And so it's super consistent with that goal. And really a crucial piece of the puzzle, and that's why we're doing it.
And as Elon said, this is all about the mission, and the mission is accelerating the world to sustainable energy. This is a big component of that. So again, this is, where disruption comes in. Yes, they're disrupting the automotive market, but they're disrupting the way we live entirely. And this is a big piece of that. So we are going to be reducing emissions by 20% here in the US by switching over to electric semi-trucks. Obviously, this isn't going to happen overnight, but as we see more and more companies take this on and we start to see their feedback coming in, we will end up seeing the transition over even faster because we're going to see the cost savings from a lot of these standpoints, and a lot of people are just going to be happier with it. Driver feedback is going to be very important. And Elon did say, and they confirmed that they will be their own customer as well. They're going to be using these trucks to go back and forth from Fremont to Nevada regularly. They have trucks basically running 24/7. And what they really want is this closed loop of information where they can get immediate feedback from their own drivers right away, saying, hey, what's good about this? What's not good? What do we need to change? What do we need to update? They can get all of that feedback immediately from their drivers and make changes. We have heard about this before. This is how Tesla operates on their production lines. They have an immediate feedback loop that comes in. They have this feedback immediately from customers, and they can say, hey, these are some issues that we are having. Whoever's area is focusing on that can then go in and say, all right, what can we do to improve this area and make things even better for the vehicle going forward? This is why, like some people are saying about me pushing my vehicle off, saying I'm going to get a better version later. There's always a better version. It's very similar to computers. It's like you buy your computer and immediately after you buy it, there's already something that's better. But the great thing about a Tesla is very similar to a smartphone and sometimes a computer, where a software update can actually make it perform better. So while I may buy a vehicle now, my vehicle might actually be better tomorrow and be even better next week just from software updates. However, there are some things like hardware 4.0. Maybe hardware 4.0 is going to be coming out next year. And if I wait, maybe my Model Y will have that in it. I'm not going to push it off just for hardware 4.0. We'll see how things play out. But these are things that we could see in the future. And I have a feeling that we are going to be seeing hardware 4.0 in the Cybertruck. And of course, we can't ignore what else we see in this picture. We have the Cybertruck, and then after that is the robo-taxi. As some people are already saying over on Twitter, where is the compact car? They said that that should be coming out before the robo-taxi. But don't forget, based upon the Q3 earnings, we had no information about a compact car or a lower priced car in there. So this slide is most likely representing what we already know for public information. While they have said that they are working on the lower priced vehicle, it is not going to be up here just because that is not going to be something that they are discussing yet. So we also know that it is coming out most likely in 2024. But then the next question is it going to have the same platform as the robotaxi? Don't forget, they had mentioned with the robotaxi that it is a robotaxi platform. So perhaps the lower priced vehicle is going to be using this same platform. And when it comes to covering major forms of terrestrial transport, the robotaxi will be a totally different platform that will encompass several other terrestrial transport modes. And speaking of the Cybertruck, as we saw here, we know that that is next in line. So what else is the Cybertruck going to have that the Semi has?
Obviously, to charge a truck like this quickly, you need high-power chargers. So we developed a megawatt class charger, as it's capable of charging at a megawatt to DC.
Yeah.
And it's our next generation immersive cooling. So it's liquid cooled. So you don't need like a gigantic elephant trunk of a cable. You can actually have a small cable, and that cable delivers a megawatt.
So, for those that have worked and charged their cars on a V3 supercharger, and the cable is nice and maneuverable, it's the same thing here, but now we're just shoving a megawatt through it instead. So this is key for high power applications like Semi. But you want to tell them, or do you want me to tell them?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be used for Cybertruck too.
Yeah. So this is coming to our superchargers next year.
And so there we have it. We are going to be having a 1 megawatt charger coming for the Cybertruck. So thinking about how powerful the semi-truck is, thinking about how they're going to be putting a lot of the technology from the semi-truck into the Cybertruck is just showing how badass the Cybertruck is going to be. So very much looking forward to all the information we are going to be getting about the Cybertruck in the future. But when it comes to the Semi, it's nothing to shake your head at either. Even though, as Elon said, it's only 1% of the global automotive market, it may not move the needle a lot on the top end when it comes to their revenue. When you're looking at the bottom line and Tesla actually using it for themselves, this is something that Farzad and I had discussed previously about the fact that when Tesla is going to be using it, that's going to be a major cost savings for them. They are running vehicles 24/7, going back and forth from Fremont to Nevada and other places as well. So if they're going to be using these vehicles on their own, that means that they are going to be saving most likely $200,000 per year in fuel costs alone when it comes to each one of these trucks. That is going to lead to massive cost savings on the bottom line. We will see more and more of this when Pepsi starts coming out with their information, when Walmart comes out with theirs, when they start getting their deliveries. We've got several other companies that are also going to be coming out with this. And Fred over at Tesla Talk did a great breakdown on this if you guys want to check him out over there. And he showed all the different companies that are going to have this. And in 2025, it seems like the EU is going to have it as well. There's different height requirements over there, so things may change slightly for it, but I have a feeling we are going to be seeing the Semi in significant form over in the EU as well. And the motor that they are using is the tri-motor that is about the size of a football. And as they explain, it's about 3 times more powerful than a diesel engine. Could you imagine trying to carry around a diesel engine like a football? It's not going to happen. You have all this dense power in something the size of a football that is going to be 3 times more powerful than a diesel engine. And the video here that they show it climbing up a hill is insanity.
So yeah, and then in terms of, we're putting this to use in the real world. Yeah. So that truck's clocking it at 82. That's weighing 82,000 pounds. And when you see that pass shot again, you'll notice that speedometer is climbing. We're going 6% and accelerating up that grade. This is where it comes in.
Yeah, it's like driving a normal car, not like driving a truck. It's just that you're moving 82,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any highway grade you come across, you can tackle at speed.
Yeah.
There's no compromise.
No slowdown.
No. The other beauty is that you've got all this power going up, but you also have it going down. And what that means is you've got regenerative braking. So rather than using a Jake brake or engine braking like a diesel truck does, where you have to worry about hitting your shifts. If you miss a gear, you're onto your brakes and potentially in a runaway situation. You don't have to worry about any of that. There's no shifting, no nothing. And so the Regen recaptures all that energy as you're going down these grades. But on top of it, it also is a safer system for not just the driver, but everybody on the road, because there's no gear to miss.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth reemphasizing that point. Because it's an electric drivetrain, when it goes downhill, or when you slow down, it recaptures the energy of motion or the energy of height. The potential and kinetic energy are largely recaptured. Whereas for a diesel truck, that's not possible. You can't just create diesel. So you just end up heating brakes. And then your brakes overheat and you can't use them. And then it's pretty dangerous because the brakes stop working.
Yeah, that's why you have runaway truck ramps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because, if for any of you that have ever driven I-80 and driven Donner, there's a mandatory brake check stop for trucks down by Emigrant Gap. We've done this, and it's really funny because we'll go over the grade, we'll come down, and we just kind of pull to the side, and we're like, well, there's nothing to check. We've never used the things, and we just keep driving. Yeah.
Yeah. And we get to the bottom of the hill, we have cold brakes.
Yeah.
That's like mind-blowing in the trucking world. So it's like insane, basically.
And those are 2 huge points right there as well. Regenerative braking, where you can recoup some of that energy to be able to help you go even further, and safety. Who doesn't want to have safer roads? Clearly, we have major issues when it comes to semi-trucks out there. That's why we have, again, like they said, those runaway ramps that are out there. They don't need these anymore. You don't have to worry about all the different human errors that are out there with missing shifting, or you have to worry about, overusing your brakes where they're heating up, and then you have to use the runaway ramp. You don't have to worry about any of that. Not only are you going to get up that mountain faster, you're going to come down that mountain safer, and you're going to continue on even faster. So while some people are saying that with a diesel truck, you can actually drive further because you can get more miles out of one tank than you can out of one charge from a semi, and then you've got to wait a few hours to fully charge your semi back up. Well, yeah, but when you come down to the bottom of a hill, if you didn't have a runaway, you have to stop, let your brakes cool off, go through that whole thing. Meanwhile, the Tesla Semi can just keep on going because it does not have to stop because it doesn't have any of these issues. So again, I would love to see this once the Semi is really out there and we can see some, more data coming in from more trucks to really show that comparison in real life scenarios. But based upon the 500-mile run that they did, seems like we are going to be seeing more and more of this. Don't forget, diesels have been around for a long time. The electric Semi just got released. So there's a lot of room to improve when it comes to the Tesla Semi versus when it comes to the diesel semis. And so when it comes to that 500-mile drive, they do have a quick sped up video of it if you guys want to check it out. I actually have the entire link to this whole entire live stream down in the description. You guys can check it out down there. But they do the entire run, all sped up. And they said that they ran the entire time nonstop, except at 8 hours by law, they have to stop for 30 minutes. So they did that, no charging, and then continued on. So they went from Fremont down to San Diego. That Donner Pass video that you guys had seen was part of this. So it wasn't just a flat ground, it wasn't on a test track. This 500-mile run was done during construction, during traffic, up and down some massive mountains that they had to climb, all the way down to San Diego. So this was as much of a real world drive that they could have possibly done with 81,000 pounds. And here's the graphic they used to show the 500-mile test run drive that they did on November 25th. They started in Fremont with 100% battery, which about 97% battery, ended up in San Diego with 4%. So 500 miles, and they still had some battery life left. And as you can see in the middle here, these were up and down hills. I mean, 4,100 feet is no joke. I mean, these are real hills that they are going up and down, so it's not like they did a flat run. And based upon their testing, they're looking at about 2 kilowatt hours per mile that they are getting out of a charge on these batteries. So that is a great sign right there, and obviously we can look to potentially improve upon that as future goes on. And another one of the cool little features that they do have is the cab itself has enough standing room for even a guy like Elon to be able to go into and fully stand up. And they showed a video of a guy going in there, hangs his coat on the back wall, sits down in the cab, and takes off. So, all these little different things that they took into account when it comes to an actual driver as well. It wasn't just a matter of let's make the best truck out there. It was let's make the best truck that drivers also want to drive for many other reasons. And so while I don't know if this event alone is going to be able to blow enough people's minds when it comes to Wall Street as to what the potential of the Semi is, a lot of the groundbreaking stuff that they have in here is only going to grow and get better. So once we see some data coming in from Pepsi Company, once we see data coming in from Walmart and all these other companies who are going to be picking it up, and when we can start seeing this hit the bottom line financials for Tesla alone as they are using them for themselves, we will start to see more and more companies take this on and really show how much better the Tesla Semi is versus diesel semis. And then we look into the future and say, what else can we see in the future when it comes to semis? Well, we know that the Simpsons predict just about everything, and the Simpsons have predicted fully autonomous semi-trucks in the future.
Oh, I fell asleep at the wheel. We didn't crash. It's a miracle.
So yes, in the future, we will end up seeing fully autonomous tractor trailers on the road, and they will be doing exactly that. Don't forget, going down that hill, they will have regenerative braking, they won't have to stop at all, and that truck can just continue on to go to a charger. And now to completely blow your mind, just wait till we start seeing fully autonomous Tesla semis driving around, stopping at a mega charger with an Optimus robot out there coming out to plug in the semi and charge it itself. And then you have no humans involved whatsoever when it comes to the transport of a lot of these materials. And so again, I am very much looking forward to the future when it comes to the Semi. I think a lot of this is going to be going over a lot of analysts' heads. And until we get some real world data coming in from some of the customers that Tesla has, we may not see a lot of movement yet coming out of the stock price. And judging by the movement of the market right now, seeing as the non-farms payroll information just came out, I have not seen it, but seeing as we're down 2.3% right now, I'm going to guess that the numbers that came in were not what the market wanted to see. I will dive into those numbers shortly and keep you guys updated as well on that, but we will see how we trade for the rest of the day. Again, we still have a long way to go when it comes to the macro environment, but these are the little fundamental things like the semi-delivery event showing us all of these little things for the future of Tesla that a lot of people overlook. People are still talking about how Elon is distracted by Twitter, but think about it. The other night he was doing a Neuralink presentation. Last night he did the semi presentation. We know that the Cybertruck is coming out. I have no doubt we will most likely be seeing that ordering page coming up relatively soon. Maybe it comes out before the end of the year. Maybe it comes out after the Q4 earnings call. We shall see when that comes out. But just looking at the fact that the Cybertruck is going to be using a lot of the awesome technology that they have in the Semi just shows how badass that Cybertruck is going to be. So again, I've got the link to the entire live stream down in the description. If you guys want to check it out down there, go ahead. If you guys watched the entire thing, let me know what you guys thought about it. Let me know if there's anything that maybe I missed as a highlight in there. I know there was a lot of information. Again, most of it was stuff that we already knew, but there were a couple of little nuggets that were in there. And when it comes to the Tesla Q side of things, saying that it will never happen, now it's happened. And I know that we're going to be hearing things like, well, that 500-mile range thing is just because they did it that one time. Let's see it consistently. I agree. Let's see it consistently. I want to see these numbers come out. But don't forget, this is the very beginning. Technology is only going to get better. So I cannot wait to see how this is going to transform the future for all of us. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon and a membership program. Those links are also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.